welcome to this episode of Artist in the Lab from the CoLab Studios in Clearwater, Florida. I am Executive Director and podcast host, Christina Baker, and I'm very excited to share today's guest with you. So let's jump on in. Today, we're chatting with singer-songwriter Jeffrey Brockman. He happens to also be a dad, husband, and retired Air Force. To say that he has already had a diverse life would be quite an understatement. Let's welcome Jeffrey Brockman and hear a little bit about his story. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, guys. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool. It's cool to be over here.
Right on
know?
this
Yeah,
side?
yeah, it's good.
Speaking of, the first time you came into the studio was you were playing with Josh Plummer.
Absolutely.
Did a little songwriters session. And you played for us, and that's the first time you and I got to meet, and we chatted a little bit.
Yeah.
And so typically we do the podcast pre-show, but we hadn't met yet. So we're doing the podcast after your show
I'm
to
okay
try to
with that.
try to get to know you a little
definitely.
bit more.
Yeah.
That was a really great night, very intimate, and
It was, yeah.
and I really appreciate. I know you gave us a pretty big shout out afterwards.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No offense to all the other venues that I play at, but this is by far my favorite.
Well,
No joke.
that makes our
Yeah.
hearts very happy.
Yeah.
As a musician myself and playing in many venues, that's a major compliment. So thank
Yeah,
you,
I can
thank you
imagine.
for that. So let's hear a little bit about your background.
Okay.
Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Okay, so we'll start from the beginning. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and that's where a lot of my family lives in Texas, whether it's East Texas, Central. But I grew up in Dallas, born and raised there until I joined the military. I joined the military at 18 and was on delayed enlistment for about 9 months. I went into the Air Force. My dad was Army, and he said, "Son, if you join anything but the Air Force or the Navy, I'm gonna kick your ass." And I was like, "All right."
Wow, as an Army dude.
As an Army guy,
Okay.
yeah. And I tell my Army friends that, and he's like, "Yeah, he was probably right." I was just this kid that grew up in Texas and really hadn't ventured out much in life.
Yeah.
And they sent me to Montana for my first duty station, and I remember seeing my assignment on a list outside of like the headquarters building, and it said Airman Jeff Brockman, Great Falls MT, Malmstrom Air Force Base, and I was like, "What is MT? Like, what state is?"
What is that,
You
mountain?
know, yeah, no. Some guy was like, "It's Montana, you idiot." I was
Yeah.
like, "Montana?" I was like, "Isn't that close to Canada?" And they're like, "Exactly."
Yeah.
So I started my career there, and I had all the intention in the world to just do 4 years and get out and use my education. And then 9/11 happened. Ended up staying in. I went to Korea for a year, came back to the States for a couple of years, and then spent the next 9.5 years in Europe.
Wow.
And then between England and Italy and a few deployments and TDYs, and they sent me back to Montana to retire. And I retired 3 years early under an early retirement program.
Oh my goodness.
So I did about 17 in the Air Force.
My goodness. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
But I lived in Italy. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
like,
mean, it's not
it's
that
not too bad,
bad. So when you signed your name on the dotted line, did you when you're basically signing your life away, what does that feel like? I mean, you were so young. I'm sure it didn't really sink in.
I knew that I was going to join the military
Mhm.
probably when I was about 12 or 13 years old.
Wow.
My grandfather was in the Army Air Corps during
Okay.
World War II, and I grew up listening to stories.
Okay.
And just he wasn't one to talk a lot about it, but I knew about it until he wrote a book. And he wrote a book, Journey Back to England. And I remember and I always wondered as a kid what he was doing, but he was sitting at this desk on a typewriter typing out this book.
Wow.
And that's what he was doing. And I read the book, and one of the coolest things that I got to experience was when I was stationed in England. My grandfather went back, I believe it was 1988. He had went back for a reunion in England to
Mm.
the old air base that whatever was left of it.
Mhm.
There was this old pub right outside the air base that he was stationed at in the 1940s that was still there.
Jeez.
Went and had lunch with the gentleman that escorted all the reunion
Mm.
around, and I got to meet him. And I was looking through the log of signatures and went back to 1988 and found my grandfather's.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's pretty
goodness.
cool. Yeah, so that was a cool, it's like come full circle experience, you know.
Yes.
So yeah,
Wow. So on the daily, talk about your life in the military. Once you got, so you went in for what?
civil engineering. So I was a heavy equipment operator. Shout out Dirt Boys. We did a lot from airfield maintenance to, I mean, your sidewalk, street repair, just general like horizontal construction type projects. Some humanitarian missions in
Mm,
between, from earthquake relief and flood relief to, I mean, you name it. We
okay.
were we were kind of doing everything that we were asked to do,
Yeah.
building bridges, you name it. Yeah, it was a good military career,
Mhm.
and I think anyone that's been in the military for a long time, it comes with a lot of baggage as well. But my experience, I'm truly grateful for. It made me grow up. I think it made me a better friend, a better leader,
Mm.
better husband, definitely second time around. Um, a better father as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. Well, we absolutely thank you for your service, and
thanks.
17 years is quite
Yeah.
the commitment. What got you started in music?
Um, I love music from a young age, and uh, I grew up in a really diverse household of music. My mom and dad divorced when I was really young, but I remember going to my mom's, and it was R&B
Mm.
and Stevie Ray Vaughan, like
Mm.
that was her guy.
Mm.
So there was a lot of that.
Good taste.
Yeah, definitely. My dad was classic rock, and so I and he listened to a lot of country music.
Mhm.
So I got a little bit of
Yeah.
everything growing up, and being the semi-rebellious kid that I was, I would sneak in NWA and LL Cool J and Grandmaster Flash, and
Right?
I was supposed to be listening to good Christian hip hop and rock music, but
Whoops.
we found a way.
Yeah. We always do,
Yeah,
don't we?
yeah.
Do you have a particular artist that is your favorite now?
No, that's I often think about this because I know that people, like, specifically musicians, are, "Who's your favorite?" And there's a
Mhm.
lot that'll just sprout someone off real
Yeah.
quick. There are a lot that I appreciate and a
Mhm.
lot that I, um yeah, that's a tough question
Okay, what
because
about
there's,
songwriters? Do you have
um
songwriters that you like their style?
yeah, so I guess there's a favorite band that I had growing up that I knew after listening to the album that I wanted to be like a serious songwriter, and that
Mm.
was Counting Crows.
Oh,
And that's
man.
August and
I
Everything
was
After.
just gonna say
Yeah,
that. That is a great album.
yeah.
Yeah.
That album came out, and I remember listening to it for the first time, and like, my goodness, like, that's a
Yeah,
songwriter, you know?
agree.
And you could visualize what was going on as he sang those songs.
Yeah,
Um, and then the follow-up came out. I
yeah.
think it was, Recovering
And
the
satellites,
Satellites,
yep. Mhm.
and, that was a life-changing album,
Mhm.
in addition to August and Everything After. But Counting
Mhm.
Crows, if there's one band that I can point to,
Mhm.
I guess that one would be
It's a
it.
good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's for me personally. I was like, "Oh, Counting Crows, they've fallen off the map." He's still writing great songs.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just not as noticeable anymore. But
I came across um the murder of one or a murder
yeah,
of one, and
yeah,
I never put together what that song meant because
yeah,
I'm horrible at listening to lyrics because
yeah,
I'm a drummer,
yeah, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
so
You
that's
got
what
other
I'm
things on your
I
mind.
know,
Yeah,
I know, but man, that one got me. I mean, not a month ago. I put the pieces of that one
yeah,
together, so I'm a little slow. I've only been what's that been out since like 1995 or
yeah.
something.
94, 95. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so what are you up to now?
So I've got a regular 9 to 5. I work for Pasco County.
You
I'm the
do.
safety manager
Mhm.
for the entire county, which comes with a lot of hard work, a lot
Yeah.
of hours,
Yeah.
but it's one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, definitely, 'cause day in and day out, I've got an excellent team.
Yeah.
You know, they kick ass, take names
Yeah.
every single day, and I get to try to guide that ship,
Gotcha.
and that's cool. So I work with anyone from fire department to the sheriff's office to animal
Oh
services
my
to,
goodness.
I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
It's the entire county. And then, I work with Homeland Security some
Mm.
for threat assessments and FBI occasionally,
Wow.
not too often,
Yeah.
but those are all really cool experiences.
Mm.
One of the coolest parts of that, was when Idalia came through just recently, and on the west coast of Pasco County, a lot of it was flooded, like, badly,
Mhm.
and I was able to help coordinate some airboats to get
Cool.
in, just little things, just the connections that you make and the relationships that you build
Yeah.
over time, and it was just nice to be able to get everybody together and, as much as I could. There was a
Right.
lot of that was already going on, but trying to utilize resources no one thought about.
Yeah.
So it's a very rewarding job.
That's
So there's
awesome.
that. I am a full-time dad, not a part-time dad. Full-time husband, not a part-time husband.
Mhm.
But I do music. I perform part-time, I guess.
Yeah.
I've always got lyrics rolling through my head. I'm
Okay.
always writing, whether I do anything with it, it depends.
Do you keep a notepad by your bed?
Um, I do.
Yeah.
I usually just use my phone though. I just use the
Okay.
notes in my phone. I can always tell when I'm at stoplights, like writing and trying to get things out because
Mhm.
it's all misspelled and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to but yeah, I've the creative juices are always flowing. And then I'm a frontman for a local rock band, One Way Forward.
One way forward.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
um
How long have you been doing that?
a year yesterday.
Wow.
1 year,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So it's
Happy
funny.
anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah, and I didn't even realize it. Like Ross, the bass player, he sent me a screenshot of an Instagram post, and it was start a rock band. They said, it'll be fun. They said,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
it's me like standing in front of a microphone. I think that's what it was. But I was like, holy cow, it's been a year.
Wow.
So
So who else is in the band?
my buddy Ross, who's a retired, I think he's 25-year Navy guy.
Mm.
Our drummer was in the Navy as well,
Mm.
and his name's Jason. And then we've got a keyboard player who has played with some major acts. His name's Andrew.
Mm.
He's played with the Commodores and John Mayer, and
What?
yeah, so that guy is crazy talented. All of them are.
Yeah.
I feel absolutely
You're crazy
lucky.
talented too. Don't
Well, I
sell yourself
mean,
short.
yeah, but it's cool to hear the songs that I write. I mean, we're
Yeah.
gonna start writing as a band pretty soon, but everything that we've recorded up till now are my songs that, like, hey, listen to this.
Yeah.
And then when everybody puts their own spin on it and it
Yes.
comes to life,
Magic.
that is one of the coolest things ever. I was crying in the studio.
Yeah,
I was
I
like, oh
bet.
my God, this
I
is great.
It's very
Yeah,
emotional. It's like
yeah,
your baby. Your
yeah.
baby coming
So
to life.
shout out to the guys in the band. Shout out to One Way Forward because yeah, Ross and I were just messaging last night.
Mhm.
Just like our goal was to record an EP
Mhm.
and try to create a legacy project for,
Yeah.
if anything, create a legacy project for our kids and our
Sure.
families, and just to put that music out there in the universe. And
Awesome. So you've got
um,
a big release coming out.
yeah, we do. So the name of the EP is "Set You Free," and that was released Memorial Day this past May.
Okay.
Um, the same day, or shortly after we released the EP,
Mhm.
we released the first music video for
Mhm.
Everything, which is the opening track, and it's a song I wrote about my wife, and I wanted to do something on the video that was a concept video of people are turning their radios on and our song is playing, and then
Mm.
their reaction to listening to the song. So it's a cool video. The song is Everything. On Veterans Day, we are releasing our second video, concept video for the song Set You Free. And
Mm.
there's a whole story. There's a story behind the band name. There's a story behind that particular song as well. I can share it with you if you want.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
awesome.
Tell us all about it.
So the band One Way Forward, I mean, I think we toyed with names for a good
It's
week or
the
two.
worst. It's
Oh my
only a
God.
week or two? That's
Well,
amazing.
I'm probably
I feel like
underselling that.
yeah.
But once again, on my phone and my notes, just started thinking of different names, and I went back to a conversation. The whole band, it started from Ross and I. We had met in a potential previous project, didn't work out for me as their vocalist. So we decided to start a
Mm,
band and kind of pull the pieces together. And we made it a point to have lunch at least once a month together, just different
great.
locations. And as two veterans, we start talking about some of the veteran issues.
Mm,
And and I think I made the comment or he made the comment, "There's only one way forward." And that stuck with me.
yeah.
And so when we were trying to come up with all these cheesy ass names for this band, I was like,
Yeah.
I and I would literally take like 10 at a time and text the guys,
Yeah.
you know, "What about these?" And
Mhm.
then immediately when One Way Forward was in that
Yep.
list, they were like, "One Way Forward, that's the
Yep.
name."
Yep.
Um, so that's cool, and that has a lot of meaning for me as a veteran as well,
Mm,
because there's a like, going back to there's a lot of baggage with
sure.
being a career veteran, and then Set You Free. So when I first got out of the military, when I retired in 2013, um, it was one of the hardest transitions of my life. It really was. It was, I was separated and going through a divorce.
Mm,
I was, literally changing my entire lifestyle from putting on a uniform every day to, working with people that didn't have the same work ethic as I did now in a
mm,
new job. It was crazy.
yeah.
Um, and I struggle with that. My best friend committed suicide in that time
Mm,
frame, and I didn't I didn't know where to go. I
mm,
didn't know how to handle it,
mm,
and it took my wife now to say, You really need to get some help
mhm,
because this is eating you alive." Um, so I took that advice and I went to the VA, and um, they had a program for, I think it was like a 12-week program that I did. It took me a year for 12 weeks, but
mm.
I got through it all.
So it's
And
outpatient.
yeah,
Mhm.
outpatient, went in for an hour or two at a time,
Okay.
and
Individual therapy
just
and group?
individual, one-on-one.
Oh, only
Yeah,
individual.
one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was I was teamed up with an intern who was, I was her project before she became doctor, and I tell you, it was life changing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say her name here, but
Mhm.
my goodness, she was amazing.
Good.
Um, and it made me realize that all the things that I was up against in life, I wasn't really up against them. I just felt like I was.
Yeah.
And she taught me various ways to handle it in a healthy manner. So
Mm,
um, it's probably one of the best things that I did.
yeah.
And I know there are a lot of veterans out there that are struggling that don't know the steps to take.
Mhm.
I can tell you it worked for me.
Yeah.
May not work for everybody,
Mhm.
but um, so shortly after that experience, just reflecting on everything, I wrote the song "Set You Free,"
Mm,
and whew,
yeah.
um, that song was a reflection
Mm.
of the year and a half
The
that
work?
I that I
Mhm.
that I had endured, if you will,
Mhm.
and realized that I made it to the other side of it, which is
Mm.
super cool. And so when we were in the studio, all the guys had finished all their music and
Mhm.
everything, and I was last. I was going in to do vocals, and I think it was just Ross, the bass player. He was on the other side. I was in the booth and just running through vocals and hearing the music,
Mm.
hearing the song,
I
and
can't.
knowing that I would be able to share that and that it would be available worldwide to people.
Mm.
It got me.
Yeah.
And I had to walk away.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, it this video is a reflection of that.
Yeah.
This video is a reflection of, life's gonna kick your ass,
Mhm.
but there's a way out. It's there's gonna be lessons to be learned.
Mhm.
We all go down that path, but
Mm.
you can persevere.
Mhm.
And the concept for the video that'll be out on Veterans Day, it's
What is the
twofold.
date of that? I'm sorry.
November 11th.
November
Yeah,
11th.
so
Okay.
November 11th it'll
Mhm.
be out.
Mm.
Um, the concept is twofold. the veteran side of the house, and then just your everyday person that's
Mm.
struggling.
Mhm.
And at the end of the video, we give some info for people that want to get help. So
Good.
yeah, I'm super excited. I never thought that when the band was able to create all this and get it out to the world, that I would suddenly become, I would start producing videos as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
But I think I do okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I got a little sneak peek
yeah.
and more than okay. More than
Okay,
okay.
cool.
Yeah. Certainly it's very emotional.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Ooh.
The first time I watched it back after I'd done the initial edit, there's like,
Mhm.
3,500 edits, but
Yeah.
I was like, my goodness.
Yeah.
I let a couple of my veterans friends watch it, and
Mm.
it was the same reaction.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, it,
Got
it did its
something.
job.
Yeah.
It did its
Yeah.
job.
For
Not that I'm
sure.
trying to make everybody cry and get all emotional or anything, but,
I know, but
you
it
know,
does. It hits
yeah,
you and it breaks that, that sometimes those walls need to be broken
yeah,
down for you to get to the juice underneath,
yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean,
And I think oftentimes too, specifically, with mainstream music, there's just this. And not everybody. I don't want to, generalize it too
mhm,
much, but there's just with mainstream musical, you don't. It's lacking a message.
yeah.
It's lacking any real content. And I know the band and I are super proud of what we've put out, because it's anything from the bounce back resiliency message to the
Mhm.
relationship message to, and all of those songs, I wrote, I was naturally going through something or proud of something or
Yeah.
expressing my love for my wife,
Mhm.
or in the song Cast in Shadows, it's sorry, babe, that I'm putting you through hell,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super rewarding and a
Yeah.
super, super emotional experience to be a songwriter.
Isn't it
Yeah.
great to be in that position of creativity where you really like what it does is secondary, right? From
Yeah.
here on out.
Yeah.
Like you've already kind of birthed that and you've healed that and
Yeah,
it's coming
definitely.
through you now and you're at a point where you do get to share that and
Yeah.
that's wonderful and I mean it's so man, it's so deep and on point and I think it's going to really help uh, a lot of people.
I hope so. Yeah, that's the
I'm
goal.
so pumped for you guys to be able to release that. So,
Yeah, we are
November
too.
11th.
November 11th.
We
Yep.
got a couple more weeks to wait.
Yeah, a couple
Okay.
weeks. Yep.
Where are you releasing it? Where can people find you? Where's the
Um,
best way to connect?
so for the band, it's just going to be on One Way Forward. I think it might be One Way Forward Band on Instagram.
Okay.
One Way Forward on Facebook. The video will be released on YouTube.
Okay.
So One Way Forward on YouTube.
Okay. Do you guys have a
Um,
channel there?
yeah, we got a
Okay.
channel on YouTube.
Okay. One way
And
forward on YouTube.
and you
Subscribe.
can check out the other video, everything. It's just a fun video. People dancing around, having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool video too. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
yeah,
for being here and for chatting and telling us
yeah.
a little bit about your story. And everybody, look them up. One Way Forward, Jeffrey Brockman. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Bye.